Yo, what's happening, world? My name's Raheem Flowers, and I felt inclined to record a video on this beautiful day. And I've been feeling really good lately. With all that being said, I got through watching a video with Meek Mill's having a Breakfast Club interview where he just got out of prison recently, and he was talking about his experience that he had to face with the judge. Now, keep in mind, I've only watched like a fraction of the Breakfast Club interview. And while I watched that fragment of the interview, I got something. Meek Mill's being a black man who had to deal with a judge who was a black woman, who was giving him a hard time. This is somebody who apparently knew him back in his days in Philly. And I think to myself, man, and then I even think about this beef or this issue that, of course, who else but the man who makes Hidden Color series, who claims to want better for the melanated people, Tariq Nasheed. Apparently, he has this intellectual skirmish with a woman named Cynthia G. I've called her Synthetic G in the past because, let's be real, she looks like a potential transsexual. That's just well, but that's not the point. My point is that, as always, there's too much friction amongst black men and black women, and we're also coming in of age where you have too many motherfuckers out here just being narcissistic and not even trying to deal with the root of the problem. It's just people wanting to get retweets and likes on social media like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, have all these damn hashtags, but everybody here is just being passive. It's just a bunch of armchair activists. Like me, I've been out there, and this is not for bragging rights or to be vain, but you know, you have to pay the price though, because even if your deeds will not be seen by the majority of people, you know what you've done, you know the impact that you've had on those people's lives, blatant or indirectly, and I've learned that myself. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I fucked up in many ways, and I know there are things that I have to hold myself accountable for, even to this very day in May of 2018. But the difference is I can acknowledge that about myself. I'm actually making a move. I'm actually doing something about it. You know what I mean? Shit, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to get cursed out by black women. I know what it's like to see mistreatment. Here, even in Chicago, man, anybody who knows about that Roosevelt area and the South Loop, I've seen how belligerent a lot of black women were towards their children. And I see how even a lot of black men treat black women, even though, to be honest, let's be truthful, a lot of them were raised by those same women. So, I mean, you got to look at how they see themselves, because a lot of females look at other women as competition. They'll even see their daughters as competition. It's fucked up out here like that. But really, I think the most important thing that we should do, especially as melanated people, is look at a situation more pragmatically instead of just saying, hey man, fuck these black women, and these black women will hop the fence. And or you could even take the route where motherfuckers want to be on that hotep shit and just say a lot of simp shit like Young Pharaoh, Polite, and your Theo Wilsons and your Boyce Watkins of the world, who will either throw black men under the bus or they'll be on that sympology. You don't want to do that route either, but you don't have to go on these long ass diatribes like the manosphere, and you don't have to be on the MGTOW movement and just try to kick them out the door like Martin and Pam. You feel me? You don't got to do that neither. It's like, this is why I like listening to certain people, man, like my man College. This is why I like listening to certain individuals who can see the whole spectrum, or who can see a good amount. You feel me? Because it's like, alright, I know that there's dysfunction, and I know that there's a lot of things that black women are going to have to answer for due to their erroneous actions, due to the maltreatment of their children that you see on Instagram, that you see on WorldStar, that you see on these Vine compilations, and people joke about that. People have memes about that. I mean, this is gonna bite the black community in the ass. We laugh about it now, but in the 2020s and the 2030s, ain't nobody gonna be laughing. You're gonna see these 2010s babies, these Generation Z cats, just go off the rail and just be on some completely rebellious shit, and it's gonna be like motherfuckers are gonna get people are, you know, you're gonna get that treatment tenfold, because hey man, behind every action is a equal or opposite reaction. That's a universal law, so that's something to consider. And it's so petulant when you see people old enough to be my mom or my dad sitting here beefing with one another, like Tariq, like Umar, like Boyce Watkins, I mean Cynthia G, the whole 9 yard, man. And the only thing that y'all could do is sit here and talk about white supremacy, not even realizing that white people were just being used by the Jewels. They were given this illusion of power. But in exchange, you see how white people have to take the blame and have to have all this white guilt. And that's not to say that they didn't do anything. I'm not letting them off the hook. But I'm saying, who do you think was behind the shadows? They were the face of slavery. They were the face of power and what people deem as such. But in reality, that's not what it is. Nope. I mean, even I've known about this for quite some time, especially being on the morale page, where there's a black man named Anthony Johnson, who was one of the first slave owners here in America. Black man, owned slaves, Jewish people, funded the slave ships, Christopher Columbus, Jewish, a bunch of crazy shit that you wouldn't even think about. Black men who, and then when you think about the Moors and you think about the Arab slave trade and the involvement that they had in it, like, it's a multitude of things, and you can't just look at it on the surface and just think, oh, it's just that evil white devil. Even though I know white people, they do relish in, you know, they relish in making a lot of melanated black people suffer, but now it's haunting them. And now they're paying the price. They're paying the price by the Jewels. They're paying the price by other white people and white guilt, and even white liberals. Like, it's a bunch of things. But that's why I made the video White Supremacy Paradox. I made that series and I said what I said. So when you look at it like that, you got to really just delve deep and be a critical thinker about that, and not get caught up in that whole roller coaster of white supremacy that people sell the same way they sell the devil in church, the same way that people try to sell the boogeyman. See, we always try to put a face on evil. It's not like I'm necessarily doing it with Jewish people. I'm just pointing out what it is. I'm not saying, I don't believe in inherent good and evils, frankly. But at the same time, what the climate has been, especially the current climate, that's what it is. You feel me? So that's all I gotta say about it. Peace out, people, and one love.